Hey everybody, how you doing? Hope you're all good, regardless of where you're in the world. I'm Matt from Matt Taiwan Life and Asia Travel. And as you can see by the title, today I'm going to be showing you going into the detail of Asia's happiest place, which is quite funny for reasons I'll go into if you don't even notice it from the place part there. But before I do, here's my favorite sign, not just of the day or the week or the month of the year, but throughout the times I've seen it in my years here in Taiwan, it still remains as my favorite sign here. So, should Taiwan be in charge of creating signs, public signs? I think yes. Let's just say it how it is. You've got to have a little bit of a giggle at that. Right, let me jump into the screen share so I can show you what I'm talking about. Let's go. Subsequently, if you are watching this throughout from different countries or even in Taiwan, slip us down a comment in the bottom in the comment section and let me know about your place and if it is a happy place or if you think it's been judged fairly. If you see it on the chart here, look, if it's way down, then you may not see it, but I had a little glance through earlier and I saw UK was in there. So yeah, if you're in the UK and it's your happy place, let me know. But one thing what sarcastically threw me straight away was this was meant to be the World Happiness Report, as in well, I looked at the top here, life, the 10 happiest countries in the world for 2025. The US didn't make it. So, okay, awesome. It says happiest countries, and then there's been kind of a muddle up of the words and the language what is used, of course, right? Let's just have a look. So this is CNBC. Okay, so it says Taiwan ranked as the happiest place in Asia according to the 2025 World Happiness Report. Okay, so it's great. They just pull these charts and reports out of nowhere. But hey, that's awesome for Taiwan. And look, before we get into it, no, actually, let me read through and then show you the charts, and then let's just see what we think about it, okay? Because there's a few different ways to look at this. Originally, I was like, oh no, Taipei, really? Have you really gone around and asked the locals? Let's not think about foreigners, and not that I can think what a local is thinking, but kind of knowing the circumstances, what the majority of Taiwanese are faced against and their hardships and difficulties on average in Taipei, you think maybe they're not in the happiest place, but then you think Taiwan as a whole is quite likely the happiest place on a whole, I believe. From the times when I visit other provinces, other cities outside of Taipei, then yeah, I can see the happiness level does seem a little bit higher. But anyway, it says Taiwan ranked as the happiest place in Asia. Of the 147 places, so we're not even talking about countries now, right? Have you seen how quickly the language has flipped straight away? Out of 147 places around the world that were ranked this year, Taiwan, it took the 27th spot, moving up from 31st last year. So Taiwan has become happier from last year, which is awesome, right? I mean, even a month's rental prices going up 20 to 30%. It must have been the little pay rise. That's why of the minimum wage. Okay, so there has been a rise in minimum wage. Maybe that pushed them up the happiness ranking slightly. Now look at the last sentence here. I mean, just randomly thrown in. Moving up from 31st last year and dethroning Singapore's top position on the list. Taiwan is a democratically self-ruled island that Beijing considers part of its territory. So a place, an island, okay, right, you get the message, right? Topping the global happiness list this year is once again the Nordic countries, with Finland leading its first place. Well done, the Finns, and for the 8th year in a row, followed by Denmark, Iceland, Sweden, and the Netherlands. Okay. And basically, it just says the happiness ranking is powered by data from the Gallup World Poll, which measured individual self-assessed life evaluations averaged over a 3-year period from 2022 to 2024. And it looks at gross domestic product per capita, which is a GDP, social support, healthy life expectancy, freedom, generosity, and corruption. Now, I looked into this previously, and it's kind of the perception of corruption in one's place. I'm not saying country because place, I'm following the language, right? Well, the happiness ranking is based on respondents' subjective ratings on their own quality of life. The 6 variables can help provide deeper insight. Now, you've got to remember, right? Everyone buzzes, especially in Taiwan, is like, yeah, the GDP has gone up again. It's increased in Taiwan, yeah. But the reality is that gap between the top and the bottom, yes, just like many other countries, but it's really getting larger now. Whereas everyone's like supporting, celebrating that, yeah, awesome, way to go, oh, amazing. And then other people who are mostly around, and I'm not talking from foreigners or myself here, from other Taiwanese, which I have discussion with, and they're basically saying, yeah, well, everything keeps getting really expensive, and inflation is really bad. And even though there's been a little slight minimum wage salary rise, it just doesn't keep up. So, have these people been interviewed on this chart? And I'm not saying that Taiwan isn't an amazing place, but has all this been taken in consideration? Where on their outside, everyone wants to boast about it, but is it a good thing for the people? Look, I'm no specialist here, but when people can't afford houses which they should be able to afford with their salary, it's worrying times. However, there are countries that are a lot worse off for sure. So here are the happiest places in Asia: Taiwan, Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand number 4, Japan number 5, Philippines number 6, Republic of Korea 7, 8th is Malaysia, 9th is China, and 10 is Mongolia. Now, let me just go into a bit more of a nicer visual here. So congrats to Taiwan, basically. Singapore was the previous holder, and Taiwan has now taken over the place of Singapore to become the happiest place in Asia. But before we get into the Asian specific one, just for a little bit of laughs and giggles, well done to Scandinavia. Scandinavia, apart from Norway being pushed out a little bit, are super happy. It must be all of a natural darkness they have. But to be fair, like, I've never actually been to Scandinavia. All the places I've been to in the world, never been there. The people I've met there are always very nice people, just like people from all over the world. And it sounds like the countries are, well thought of, but also well looked after. Things are expensive, but they are provided as a people. They are provided with their needs, with everything they need to get on for a healthy, wealthy life and lifestyle. So Costa Rica, nice one, 6th place. You got Israel in 8th place, Luxembourg 9th place, Mexico 10th place. Okay, Australia, New Zealand. Look, if you're from any of these countries, just give me a shout in the comments below and let me know, right? Let me know how you're feeling. Ireland, look, I've heard some mixed reviews about Ireland, a little bit like UK. Ireland's 15th, a little bit like UK, 23rd. UK now 23rd. I mean, I don't know how many people they've like asked here, if it's from like 1,000 people, but I spoke to like not far from that number, or I know the feelings of at least 1,000 people what would say differently from the UK being 23rd happiness rate. I mean, who knows? And the United States is just outside of the UK. Awesome. Belize 25th, Poland, and then there's Taiwan on the 27th place. Now, interestingly, okay, which is why we're using language place and island, is because Taiwan, here it's a Taiwan province of China. So looks like by this chart, China has a few places in the chart, which is awesome. Well done, China. Good stuff. And yeah, so Taiwan are above Uruguay, Kosovo, Kuwait, Serbia, Saudi Arabia, France, Singapore, Romania, Brazil, El Salvador, Spain, Estonia, Italy, Panama, Argentina, Kazakhstan, Guatemala, Chile, Vietnam, and Nicaragua, Malta, Thailand, and Slovakia. And the list goes on, okay, dropping our way down. Philippines is there, 57th. Now, I'm just going on to the chart just showing the Asian countries now. Now, me myself, it's very easy to jump to these conclusions, right? Or for me, like my original thought, and I'll admit it, was like, oh, really, like my happiest place is Taiwan for sure. For like overall average, on average, everything, the ups and downs, when you put it all together, Taiwan is my happiest place, and I know that now. However, if you're talking to me about Taipei being the happiest place, I personally don't feel it is for me. That's why I don't live in actually Taipei City. And I don't feel, not that I'm anyone to judge, but I don't kind of feel, I get the perception that it's not the happiest place, Taipei City, for many other people as well. But I could be totally wrong. But then you think about, okay, outside of Taipei City, many other cities. I've been to a load of other places in Taiwan, and I really like Taiwan. I really like Taiwan out of Taipei City. I still like Taipei City. I think it's a superb city, so convenient, easy to get around. It's got everything you need, friendly for foreigners as well, and you can actually build a good life there. But I'm not a city person, even a nice compact city like Taipei. But when I go into, let's say, Keelung, Nantou, Hualien, it could be even Hsinchu and Taoyuan, anywhere down south, Kaohsiung, Tainan, even Taichung. I just get that feeling, that nice Taiwan feeling, like I did when I first came to this place. And yeah, it makes me warm and fuzzy, and then it just brings back good memories, wipes out any negativity, which I brought myself into my life during these years. And it just makes me feel like Taiwan again, which is awesome. Now, then you got to remember, like, instantly I'm thinking like, oh yeah, but Thailand's happy and Philippines is happy, right? Because we'll get that perception, and people who live there, I mean, I don't live there, but I've been to these countries, in Malaysia and China and Vietnam and Singapore, but I don't live there. I've lived in Philippines for a little bit. And maybe they think they're in a happiest place, but then you got to think on the whole as a people when you're looking at, look, just things like, and I'm talking from Taiwan point of view now, just things like infrastructure and healthcare. And yes, although house prices have gone way up, if you got, let's say, an average salary or minimum wage job, can you find suitable accommodation or housing for that salary? And I know, look, in Asia, around Asia, a lot of families share houses and whatnot, split the costs, you can get bigger houses. Or some, on the flip side, some people just can't afford to have their own apartment or their own space. Okay. But on average, we're talking now. Now, this is the only way I'm thinking how these ratings can kind of make a little bit more sense, because in general, you go to Philippines and you go to Thailand, everyone's smiling, and sometimes you're thinking, oh my God, you're so good at this, like just being awesome and happy, and customer service is just your natural ability. But then deep down under, look, I don't know, because I don't know that life enough or properly to judge. But deep down under, just with all them things what I mentioned about Taiwan, can they afford the same things which the Taiwanese can? Uh, in accordance to the kind of money they're earning, uh, in according to where they're living, and according to the family and the needs and the healthcare and all the logistics of moving around the country and whatnot. So, in respects of that, when you're looking at healthcare, etc., like I mentioned, Taiwan now looks like has overjumped Singapore. Singapore has become quite expensive for a lot of people, regardless of which country you are from. Unless you're from the Scandinavian countries, because you're happy, right? And everything's pretty expensive there. So we're even happier when they go out of Scandinavia. Awesome. But then you got to think about, look, I've lived in the Philippines, and look, I love the Philippines. I can't say Philippines is one of the most, if not the most, favorite country of mine to go and visit for vacations, or longer trips. And I do. I go to the Philippines at least once a year. So it is my favorite country. But having already lived there, would I want to live there full time? Well, yeah, of course. It's one of my favorite countries to visit. But comparing it to Taiwan, now comparing it to Taiwan, I can see why Taiwan would be ahead of the Philippines, and that's not putting anything down about the Philippines. I absolutely love the Philippines, but in terms of living, in terms of, let's say, the things I would need, my family would need, with healthcare, getting around the city, and just potential of earning power and what you get, and just different things which maybe aren't comparable. Even though a lot of people think, oh, wow, it's a country in Asia and it's all really the same. Uh, well, it's not. And that's why when you do like step out of your own brain a little bit, and you do start to think, yeah, look, the average person in that country, do they get everything they need to make their life comfortable? Okay. So, what is it that the pyramid of needs? What goes up, the basic needs of shelter and food and social interaction and feeling a sense of worth and all the good stuff, and family and affordability. Now, it's no good living in like a really affordable country if you're not making money. So that's why it's and a lot of foreigners and sometimes I say it, but just because I'm relating it back to the UK still, or even Taiwan, when I go to certain countries and you're like, wow, that's cheap, but it's not. I mean, I get it when my parents come to Taiwan and they're like, oh, that's great, that's cheap, and I'm like, hey guys, I'm like, I know this is your kind of holiday and stuff, but it's not cheap for a lot of people here, and it's just like our way of life, and it can be quite seen as quite pricey or a privilege or expensive. So we do come from that, have to try and think about that kind of mindset and that view as well. But a few things I want to pull out here, and look, this isn't going against any countries as well. South Korea in Japanese. What I do know from other people, again, look, I'm not in any position to judge and say, yeah, this must be it. But Japan and South Korea, sorry, Republic of Korea have a lot of pressure on them. And I know that uh, I did read a stat that Republic of Korea and Japan, I think it was Korea first and then Japan second, had the highest suicide rate, which would state that maybe in Asia, which would state that maybe people aren't as happy as one would suggest. And beautiful, beautiful, beautiful countries. I love the region of Asia, all beautiful countries, amazing people. But then you got to go into really the happiness on average of everyone. And if people are under so much social pressure, if you go and look at how much plastic surgery people are having in certain countries, right? And you look at the social pressure around them, whether it will be with actors, actresses, pop gangs, pop bands, girl bands, boy bands, and everything, and the perception that everyone needs to be this type of person. And society then puts them under pressure. And for example, females are under a lot of pressure in some of these countries that it's just not very nice for them and it's not a nice life for them. Guys also. So when you put all that in together, I guess on average, yeah, Taiwan could possibly, well, it says here, but it could be, or maybe it is the happiest place in Asia. Um, happiest island. So yeah, Singapore, okay, you got Vietnam, Thailand, Japan, Philippines, Republic of Korea. Remember Malaysia. I'm a big fan of Malaysia, but I've not lived there, so I couldn't really have a deep insight on here. But I love Malaysia, but that's from me, a foreigner who's gone into Malaysia, and even like in Taiwan, where let's say the average salary is higher than Malaysia. So I'm going into Malaysia and I'm thinking, oh, this is amazing. Yeah, awesome. Like, oh, my money from Taiwan is going a lot further in Malaysia. But again, just like I said with other countries in Taiwan, people may find some things in Malaysia difficult. But people were amazing in Malaysia, by the way. The food, the people, the accommodation, the swim pools, everything. Loved it. Loved it. Indonesia, Hong Kong. Nepal, Laos, Pakistan, India, Cambodia, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and then Afghanistan. So Bhutan, Bhutan is not on there, right? Is, yeah, Bhutan, because I always thought Bhutan was the happiest place. Did we not? I read that somewhere, and that they're not in there. Okay, so yeah. Let me look into that. Let me look into that. When the UK is being judged like the 25th or whatever it was in the world, or 24th, and USA is 25th, which is quite funny. So Bhutan, Bhutan, Bhutan is often, so that's kind of like what Chinese or Taiwanese say. It's often considered one of the happiest countries in the world due to its unique philosophy of gross national happiness. Yeah, I always thought they topped the poll for that, which prioritizes well-being over economic growth and its strong cultural and spiritual values. That's what I thought. I always thought Bhutan. Bhutan has been recognized as the happiest country in the world, according to the GNH model, with an average GNH score of 7.59. Yeah, so, you know, this is the World Happiness Report. We don't know how many of these happy place report, happy ending, happy ending reports there are, but Bhutan isn't on there. Unless they've been left out because it's some kind of conspiracy. I don't know. I don't know. But really interested to see what your thoughts are. Drop it in a comment down below. But well done to Taiwan, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. Oh, but you'll never be Taiwanese. But Taiwan is my home, and I love it. I love it. Regardless what I say in any of my videos, I do speak about negatives because it's reality of a foreigner living in the country and trying to bring up a family, a Taiwanese son in the country, struggling. I'm not totally fluent or as close to fluent as you can be in Mandarin. And I get through day by day to do the best for my son. All foreigners have challenges. All locals of every country have challenges. And I'm really, really pleased with Taiwan. I'm proud that it was voted. Was it one of the best healthcare in the world? Well, one of them. Not so long ago. So yeah, that's awesome. That's why my business is making sure that your business is safe and sound, comfortable when you're moving over to Taiwan. Okay, so I help with relocation for people to Taiwan from your country to try and start a new or better life. Okay, so you can get in touch with me. Watch all the videos on the playlist. You can find so much information on there because I actually feel like Taiwan can provide an amazing life, safe, rewarding, and beneficial life for people and their families to progress. And it's not that I want to try and like make Taiwan unhappy by bringing a load of foreigners over here. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not pimping out the country, but I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it, and I'm just so fortunate. Again, I always say it in some, especially one of my latest videos, the one about the MRT argument with the foreigners and Taiwanese. I'm so fortunate to be here, like a lot of us foreigners are. So, if you do want to see any more videos on Taiwan, Taipei, life, renting, food, everything else, then hit the playlist right now.